Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hello Cricut. We are so excited to have everybody joining in and joining the group. Today, we are going to be focusing on all of the different Cricut machines that are available to you right now in the marketplace. I know that there are people who have lots of questions about which Cricut is right for me, and that's what this class is all about. We're here to say hello to you and welcome you to the Cricut family. My name is Joy McDonnell, and we have our teacher, Kesley Anderson, today, and Lindsay Bello is also going to be helping us in the chat area if you have questions. We want you to participate in this webinar, so please feel free to type questions into the question area, and Lindsay and I will help answer your questions. We'll also feed those over to Kesley so that as she's demonstrating everything, she can then make sure that you understand what is unique about that type of machine and how that machine might work for you in your lifestyle. We also have closed captions on this class. If you would like to have those closed captions turned off, you can turn that off on your own. That information for how to do that will be in the chat. Okay, so Lindsay and I are going to be paying attention mostly to the Q&A and working from there. So if you'll put your questions in there, that would be perfect. And Kesley Anderson is our teacher. She's got all the machines in front of her. So let's go ahead. Kesley, get started.
Thanks, Joy. As I was setting up today, I felt like I was a little bit like Mr. Rogers, welcome to my studio. So we have a lot of the different machines out, and I just want to introduce everyone to the family of Cricut machines. On my left, I have a setup with the Cricut Joy and heat press. The Cricut Joy runs with a 4 1/4 inch vinyl. It also has a single blade holder. So the same attachment holder here holds a pen and a blade, which is a little bit of a unique feature. It also was the first machine to work with smart materials. On my right, I have a Cricut Explorer. This is the Explorer 2. It has the dial on it, which allows for quick change of materials. It has a dual holder system here, so you have a different place to put pens and your stylus versus your cutting blades. The Cricut Explorer cuts over 100 different types of materials. In the middle, I have the Maker 3, and this is the newest version of the Maker. I'll be using it with my iPad to run you through a couple of things. The Maker 3 also has two holders, one for your pens and stylus, and then your cutting holder. And what's really unique about the Maker machine and what makes it such a powerful machine, it works with a wheel system, so you get much more precision cutting on a Maker 3, and it works with the rotary cutting blade, which is my favorite blade. Then I also we'll go for an overhead view every now and then, and I have an Explorer 3 set up with the material attachment, the roll holder attachment onto that machine. So why don't we start off with the Cricut Joy. I have and actually, Felicia, if we can switch to the closer view of this, that'd be great. There we go. Sorry, it's a little fuzzy. I've done the best I can. I have in the single blade right now, I have my fine point, but if I wanted to switch out, I could take this out and add a pen into that blade, into that carrier, to make a written card, or if I were, these are my infusible ink pens. So I could use those to write onto laser paper and make designs to work with the infusible ink process. One really cool feature on the Cricut Joy, which has a lot of people super excited, is the card mat. So this is another unique feature to the Cricut Joy. You take a folded card and place it, slide it into the mat like this, and we will go ahead and make a card right like that. So the Cricut Joy, being so small a machine, it can go travel with you. If you're a teacher, it is a great machine to have in the classroom. As a parent, It's super to pull out when you're working on school projects at the kitchen table, or if you're organizing around the house. This is a great little machine for those types of features. Also, when using this smart material, it allows you to cut really long cuts without having to use a mat. So that, again, in your home decor, that's a great feature. I'm going to go ahead and walk over to my overhead camera and send a design from my phone to show you guys how easy it is to create on the go. Thanks, Felicia. You're faster than I am. Okay, so here we go. Here's my phone. Oops, got to hide my password there. All right, so I have opened up the Cricut Joy app. This is an exclusive app just for Cricut Joy projects. And today I'm going to show you how quickly you can make an insert card. So I just need to make a thank you card. So I'm going to look up, I'll just do a quick search in the insert cards for thank you. And I get tons of options of designs that are ready to go. And all you have to do is select a design and then click start making. You indicate what size design card you want to make. You click next. And I can change out the colors if I want. It's a little hard to see that, but we'll go ahead and click next again. And it tells me what materials I need, which machine I'm using, any mats I need to use, and then I click make it. And let's hope my machine pops up. So one cool feature, let me just go to my settings here and pop up my Bluetooth. The machines like this Cricut Joy, works on I'm not sure which is my Cricut Joy. It works on Bluetooth. So it's really cool because that way you can use it anywhere. You're not relying on sorry, Joy, you want to answer a question while I get my Bluetooth, or ask me a question while I get my Bluetooth set up here?
I was just going to say, did you check to make sure that your Cricut Joy is powered on?
It is powered on.
Okay. And then as you're looking for your Cricut Joy, the nice thing about the app is all of our machines, actually, let me just take a few steps backwards. All of our machines have registration numbers on the bottoms of the machines. So when you first register the machine with Cricut, you will find that number on the bottom. And then as you're working the wireless with the Bluetooth connection, Kesley had just got into her settings. She opened her Bluetooth option, and that will tell her the number of the machine and then which machine she's connecting to. So if you're like Kesley and you have several different machines up at once, sometimes you have to remind yourself and look at the bottom and find that number again.
And Joy, you are so smart. So let me go back over here, and it is the Joy OC77, and it's now connected. So now I can go back into my app and go ahead and load in my material. Let's just see. Let me go over here. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and push that in. There's a little sensor so it can tell when you're putting your materials in, and it just sucks it in. And then it should have to go back to my app.
Kesley, we have you running across your room.
I know, getting my steps in today.
Oh, there you go.
And there we go. And it will cut. And the cool thing is it tells you how quickly it's cutting. So I could even walk away from the room and make sure it was still cutting. So I'm going to go back over here as it's cutting along. Watch the progress. Now with the cards, when you get a set of cards, it comes with the card and the insert and your envelope. So I can literally make a card. We'll see how quickly it cuts, but in minutes. I can have a nice thank you card done and ready to go in the mail. So saying it's 100% cut, it's working, working, working. The other great thing I love about the Cricut Joy is this vinyl, this writable vinyl for my organizing around my house. I can write labels and put it right on things in the kitchen or in the kids' bathroom, in my bathroom, anything like that. It's awesome. So now on my phone, I'm going to go ahead and click the unload, and my mat comes out. My card is all designed. And I go ahead and take it right off the mat. And I had the wrong size card selected, so it's a little bit off. But there we go. And then I would tuck my insert. And if you ever did this, like I used the wrong size card, I selected the wrong size for it, but you can just trim your card down there. And there you go. I have this great thank you card ready to go, my envelope, and I can send that out.
And Kesley, those insert cards, the envelopes and the cards come together in a pack.
Yes, it's so cool. They come together in a pack, so you can have, it has like 3 colors with it that mix and match with different insert colors. And I have a couple of them on hand. I usually do this upstairs, so my packs are upstairs. But they're great to have on hand if you need that quick birthday card, a thank you card, anything like that. They're really super fun to just keep around. And if you want to have a little extra time and want to get fancy, you could use the new foil attachment and really get glittery fancy with your cards using the foil attachment on the Cricut Joy.
Yeah, I can't wait for that for the holidays.
It's going to be awesome. So let me just show you, Joy, how this like wraps up really super tiny. And again, like it is, that's one feature I love about it, is it's so portable. So if you're a person who crafts on the go, like if you like to, when things open back up, if you go to a girlfriend's house to scrapbook or craft at somebody else's house, or you have kids that are, going to cheerleading practice and you're sitting outside, this is a great little machine to have with you, and you can craft on the go. Also, if you're limited in space, this is a great machine because although it's, maybe a little bit thinner here, you have the length of a roll to cut. So even if you're doing something skinny, you could do it really long. So that's another great feature of the Cricut Joy.
So Kesley, like that sign behind you, you could actually cut something that long on this machine because it will cut the length. Right. And will you tell us, will you go over again the types of materials that the Cricut Joy will cut?
So the Cricut Joy will cut up to 50 different materials. You can have 2 different mats. So I showed how to use the card mat, and I keep in my little drawer here all of my tools. But you would use a mat like this if you were cutting, say, cardstock or vellum. The Cricut Joy works with the smart materials as well, so you don't have to use a mat when you're using the smart materials. So you could use smart vinyl, you could use the smart iron-on, you could use the smart infusible ink also with this machine. So it really gives you not as many choices in materials that it will cut, but 50 materials. It's going to get their basic materials. This will do the job for.
So if I want to make t-shirts, or if I want to make decals for my car or for tumblers or things like that, I can do all of that with that machine in a little tiny amount of space.
Yes, absolutely. And this is I did my carts using the Cricut Joy. So all this decoration on here, I did with the Cricut Joy. And this is the smart vinyl. So it comes in a package like this. And it's the perfect size. So you don't have to do anything to use it. It just, you don't need the mat or anything, and it just pops in and you're ready to go.
That is fabulous. So nice and easy.
very nice and easy. And my daughter loves this one. She's 17 and she's already threatening that she's going to take that one to college for a side hustle. But that it's a great, I mean, so it is good. Like the kids are so good on their phones that it's a great machine for teenagers or even elementary school kids can use this for their science projects and things.
And the length of that roll, Kesley, that you just took out of that packaging, I know
Yes.
you're trying to keep all of your easy presses going at the same time, but if everybody kind of looks at the length of that roll, that's how long something will cut. So you can do t-shirts on there, you can do all kinds of projects.
Absolutely. I would not limit myself and think that, oh, I can't do on the Cricut Joy the things I want to do, like t-shirts, bags, all kinds of stuff like that. You can still do all of your basic crafting with the Cricut Joy. And oh, this is 4 feet. I don't know if I answered your question. This roll is 4 feet. So you can really get a nice long, if you want to make a banner or something like that, like a birthday banner, you could do that with that Cricut Joy and the 4 feet of material. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. Should I move on?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so I'm going to use my iPad here. I hope I didn't lose power. Okay, for this one, I want to show you how the Explorer 2 works. So, and actually, I will go back. I'll go back over to the overhead, and I can show you how I do it on my iPad. But what I'm going to cut is I'm using Joy. The difference between like the Air 2, one of the differences between the Explorer 2 and the Explorer 3. The Explorer 3, you can use smart materials, which we just went over with this Cricut Joy, that don't require a mat. For materials that do require a mat, there's a 12-inch mat like this one. This is the standard grip mat, and it does things that are 12 by 12. And then if you're working on larger projects, you could do something like this, which is a 12 by 24-inch mat. And that would work in your Explorer 2 and your Maker. And so we're sort of with the Explorer 2, your limitation in length is the length of your mat. So you can go 24 inches long. In the Explorer 3, you're using smart materials, and just like with the Joy, you can go, I think it's 9 feet is what I did. I think that's what I did. The length of the material was 9 feet on the Explorer 3 making t-shirts. So that's one thing, but I'm going to show you how this is infusible ink I've already put on the mat, and I'm going to show you with my iPad. So this is one cool thing, I guess, let me back up 1 second, because if people are new, they won't know this. The way Cricut works is you have a computer program called Design Space, and this will work on an iPad, which I have here, an iPhone, which I showed you, or I mean, actually any tablet, any phone device, does not just iPads, and your laptop or a desktop. It works across all those different platforms. You have one Cricut ID, and then you just log in using that Cricut ID to all the different devices, and they work across all the different machines. So I have one Cricut ID, I have Cricut Design Space on all these different devices, and I'm using them to send the designs to all the different machines. So I want you to know, like, the Design Space is there with hundreds of thousands of designs ready to go for you to use. So I'm going to go back to my canvas here, and I'm going to select this. Let me close out that one and turn this one on. Oops. Turn that one off. Turn that one on. Okay, so this is an infusible ink design that is going to make a mug. So it's on my canvas. I'm going to go ahead and say make it. So I say make it. Oops, why is it doing that? Let's say make it. And I'm going to cut on a mat, since I'm going to be using the Explorer 2. Normally you would want to reverse an image for the infusible ink, but this one doesn't require mirroring. So I'm ready to go, and I'm just going to hit the continue button. And it should send it over to my machine behind me. And let's see, it's just taking a minute to think about it. Okay, and then it asked me which material I'm going to be using. So I need to tell the software what material I'll be cutting on the machine. So I'm using infusible ink, and it tells me any special instructions I need to know, which blade to have in my machine. And then when I'm ready to go, my light will flash. And all right, I just need to switch my machine, Joy. So can I answer any questions while I'm switching my machine?
So we have some really good questions. I love that everybody's putting them in. So somebody had asked if they can make a banner, and yes, you can make a banner with any of these machines, but then they'd like to know how would that work with more than one color?
Oh, so to do something with more than one color, you would just print it. You cut it out of the different colors that you wanted to use. And then if you're using iron-on vinyl, or if you're using adhesive vinyl, it's a technique called layering. And you would just layer your vinyl one color on top of the other. So you can do as many colors as you want. Okay, so my light is flashing. I'll keep answering that question because that is a good question. And if we can go back over to this, my overview, I'll show you. Okay, so my light is flashing, and I'm going to go ahead and load my material in. So I would just do one color, and then I would do a second color in my machine. And the software, this is where the smart part comes in. The software will prompt you which color to cut and when to cut it. So the software does all the heavy lifting brain power for you. You just have to put in the right color vinyl as you're going along to cut it. Okay, so while this is cutting, Joy, I'm going to go ahead. I've got the mug press, and I'll see if I can turn my camera and show the mug press over here. Oh, actually, you can see it. Okay, so this is the mug press. I went ahead and preheated it, and I'm going to slide a mug I've already cut and weeded to go in here. And I'm kind of like a little funky angle, so bear with me. So I'm just going to slide that in there.
And Kesley, you're using the mug press right now.
Yes, I'm going to slide this into the mug press.
So you got to come around and get the better angle.
Okay.
The mug infusible ink is a really cool surface, because when you heat it and put it onto one of the mugs that goes along with the mug press, you get a pro result that has like an enameled version. You'll be amazed at how gorgeous that is. Once you get that in there, Kesley, can you pick up one of the ones that you have done and show it to us?
Yes, and I'm going to switch this like this. There, so you can see it. So I just push this down, and it's going to start heating that up. And it has little dots on the back that shows me the progress I make. And this is a mug that I've already done.
And show us, see how perfect that is on there. And Kesley, when you run your hand over it, it's like solid on there, and you can put that through the dishwasher everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And it just sears right into there. And you can use infusible ink. There's t-shirts. Cricut has t-shirts, wine bags, makeup bags. You can have coasters. Do you have your coaster handy?
I do. I actually have so Kesley made me this coaster, this Hello Beautiful, and she made me a cute mug. I had my coffee.
That's okay.
But you can see how it's just, and it will last forever.
It does. And you can throw it in the dishwasher. It's fade resistant and everything. So it's really going to stick on there. And when you're doing something like a t-shirt or wine bag, that's when you would use your heat press here, the flat heat press. So the mug press is unique for Cricut mugs. so that it had to get that round curve of it. But when you're doing like a coaster or a t-shirt or something like that, you would just use the heat press here.
Yeah, and that's the Easy Press comes in a couple of different sizes.
Right.
You have the 9x9 size and the 12x10 size. So depending on what you're making, you might want one particular size of that Easy Press over another.
Exactly. So now the back to the Explorers, your Explorer machines. Your Explorer will cut over 100 different types of materials. So in terms of, it cuts your vinyl, your premium vinyl, iron-on vinyl. It cuts the infusible ink. So that's this design here. And when I take this off of my sheet, I would take this off and then I would do what's called weeding, which is removing the parts you don't need and then wrapping it around my mug and placing it in my mug press. So you can, all different kinds of materials you can put on your mats. So, stickers, if you want to make stickers, you just can print stickers and then cut them with a program, with a process called print and cut, which is fantastic. So you can do that on here. You can print on vinyl, like vinyl printable sheets, sticker paper. You can even do like cut out shrink ink materials on this machine. Some fabrics, as long as they're bonded fabrics. And so when I get to fabrics, we'll go over here to the Maker. But really, like, this is, if you're a crafter and you're not like, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out like how to say the different types of crafters, but like I went to the Maker because I'm a sewer, and the idea of being able to cut out patterns and fabric really pushed me to want to get the Maker. As a consumer, the Explorer was top notch. It did everything. I could do cardstock with it. You can add pens, so I could draw really fancy designs with it. I used this machine and I used the water soluble pen to draw a pattern out that I then hand embroidered. So there are so many different things that your Explorer can do that it's amazing. So that's the Explorer, over 100 different materials it cuts. The Explorer 2 has the dial and doesn't work with smart materials. The Explorer 3 works with smart materials.
So Kesley, we do have a question.
Yeah.
So one of our students, Nicole, is planning her son's birthday party. And she's got her machine and she wants to customize everything. Perfect. So she could do that from the vinyl that she could use. She could do that by making banners. Mm-hmm. It's all, and Nicole, if you wanted to go into Design Space and choose all your pieces, you could do that. Yes. Yeah, you could do, like I did my kids' graduation parties, and on the buffet, it's s'more fun because we had a fire pit with s'mores and a s'mores buffet. So you can do all that, all your vinyl. If you want to take little backpacks and heat prep, iron on a design for the birthday party on the bag, or as like a little goodie bag, you can do that. So you can cut like your vinyl for like your buffet signs and things like that. You could use iron on your goodie bags, and then use cardstock to make, like if you want to make the pinwheel designs or something like that, and you can use cardstock. That's why I have my huge stack of cardstock behind me, because I'm always cutting out cards, banners, all kinds of stuff with the Explorer. Yeah, that's a great, what a great time saver too, and how fun to make it personal and customized. I love that. Okay, so let's go on to the Maker 3. I mentioned the gear housing in the Maker. Oh, guess what, guys? That bleep bleep, that tells me my machine, does that tell me my mug press is done? Yeah, I think that's that one beeping. I have two different mug presses. I have two different heat presses on. So let me go grab
Now, this is what's really cool about this. When it's done, it beeps at you and tells you it's done. And then actually okay, Joy, it's been a couple of days since I've done it. Does it pop up automatically or do I have to lift it up?
You have to lift it up.
Lift it up, okay.
The nice thing is that all that plastic that Kesley's touching right now is we've made sure it all stays cool to the touch, and the handle of the mug will also stay cool. However, you don't want to touch that mug. So right. Kesley got the Easy Press mat so she can put it right on the mat. And you're going to let it sit there, right?
I'm going to let it sit there. And while that's sitting there, I'm going to bring my camera over here. Come travel with me. And we are going to cut out on the Maker 3 here. Let me raise this up a smidge.
And the Maker 3, the Maker in general is really a game changer for adding extra materials, the amount of different types of materials you can cut. If you do so like Kesley does, then this machine really is the next step up to making that creative sewing project that you like to make.
Mm-hmm. And not just sewing projects, Joy. You can use this is my blade carrier. My carrier that has all of my different blades. And there's I can't even count how many different blades there are. But there's a perforation blade. There's a wavy blade. There's a knife blade, so you can even do balsa wood. You can do your fine point blade. So everything you can do on the Explorer machines, you can do on the Maker and then some. So it does allow you to do more materials. And the knife system, the blade system I'm talking about is this. And so it has a gear on it like this. And what that allows your blade to do is really, it will pick up when you're using like a rotary blade, it picks up and rotates just that little hair bit to really get those precision cuts on fabrics and materials like fabrics. So that is awesome. So I'm going to go back to my iPad again, if I can go to the overhead, because I have a fabric project ready to go. So I can come into my projects that I've saved. Let me see if I get to here. My projects on this iPad, I go to my projects. So it may just take a minute. Okay, well, I've got it. Yep. There we go. My project's in the cloud. So these are projects I've done that I've saved. So one of them was this knot bag. And since I've saved it and made it before, I'm just going to say I want to make it. And it sends it right to my prepare screen. And I want to make sure that I've selected the right machine to make it. So I'm going to go back and select my Cricut Maker 3. Go back here, grab that guy, and I'm going to make this. Now, what I'm going to do is cut the fabric out on the mat. And instead of having to hand cut it all, I'm going to be able to send it right to my machine and cut right to my machine. I'm going to select cotton fabric, and it tells me to make sure I have my rotary blade in, and then to go ahead and load my mat. So I'm going to do that. And I've got it ready to go. Now, normally I would do this on a desk, but you know, we're doing it like this today. So my light is flashing, telling me to go ahead and load, and I don't have to do anything to the fabric. I've just cut out a piece of fabric that's 12 inches by however long, and I've put it on the fabric mat, and I'm going to go ahead and load that in. And then when my device is going to make sure that I have the right blade in. Again, this is where the smart comes in. It's going to check and make sure that I have the right blade in and that I have enough materials and I'm ready to go. So now it's just going to detect everything for me. And it's telling me it's ready to go when this light flashes, and I hit the light and it's going to start cutting. And there we go. now it's checking the blade. But I really appreciate how much thought is put into the whole process, and that the machine has the ability to check and make sure that I have the right blade in and I'm going to be doing the right types of cutting, as opposed to leaving it up to me, because I think 1 in 4 times I'd probably have a user error in that space. So what I do then is I would cut out 4 of these pieces, and then I would be able to sew them together and make this top knot bag. And with Design Space, since I've saved my project, I can share out to my sewing friends my project, and then they can make it for themselves. So it's just, you can see how that, I don't know if you can see if it's close enough, but it's just, that blade is just twisting and rotating around for me and going along. Now, once this is done cutting, I'm going to add a piece of iron-on vinyl to it. So it's done, it's cutting, it's telling me to unload it. So I go ahead and unload it off the mat, and then I just take my piece, comes right off my mat. Look at that.
That's so amazing, Kesley.
Isn't that great?
So helpful.
I mean, as sewers, we know how much time it takes to like put the pattern down, cut it out, get it all right. And I've even got like my little notches here, so I can match it up perfectly when I do go to sew it. So now what I'm going to do, Joy, is I've got another design. So I want to make, I'm going to go back to my overhead and show you again on my canvas here how easy it is to switch designs. So I've got this layer here. I'm going to go ahead and make that layer active. And it's just a little note. It says, "Hello, beautiful." So when I say I'm going to make that, I'm going to use my smart material. So I don't even need a mat. And I go ahead and I say, let's see, it's going to be iron-on. So I want to mirror that. And it reminds me to mirror the image, and it takes care of it right there. And even when I select the materials that I'm going to be using, it will again remind me to turn the mirror on. So I just select my material, and I'm going to use Smart Iron-On right here. And it's not a glitter iron-on, although I love my glitter iron-on. And it tells me to load my fine point blade into the clamp. So then I go back to my machine. Now, normally I would just have this my iPad sitting right here for me, so I wouldn't have to go back and forth. But I just switch out my blades. Do that wrong. Okay, so I switch out my blades like that, and then I've got my iron-on behind me here. So it comes in a package like this. And the great thing about the smart materials, which you don't really appreciate until you have too many more materials than you admit to, is they're in different types of packaging. So if I were just using regular vinyl, it comes in a clear box packaging like this. Or if I'm using iron-on vinyl, it comes in a concealed box like this. So I know which material I'm using. And then I just load this into my machine with the shiny side down. So my light is flashing, telling me to go ahead and load. So I just load it right in. Here we go. And it takes it in. It's going to make sure I have enough material to work with. And then it tells me it'll tell me it's ready to go. I hit the play button and it will start cutting it for me. And you notice I didn't need a mat. I just went right to it and was able to cut it. It looks like, there we go. And these are one cool thing, Joy, I'll point out. I do have the Explorer 3 next to my computer, and it's connected with HDMI cable, not HDMI, but the cable. It's connected right into my computer. So when I'm using my desktop, I can do that. But all three of these machines, I've been using Bluetooth. And it's not a connected, it's not like it's not wired. It's not hardwired.
A hard connection. And that's a great thing, is if you do have several machines that you can move around so easily.
Right.
With all of them.
And do you know something that's really cool is if you do have several machines, you can have several versions of Cricut Design Space open on your laptop. So if you were to be crazy and have two machines or something like that, you had a little side hustle, you needed to print or cut more than one thing, you could do that and just have two versions of Design Space open at the same time and be super productive. So if you decided the night before your child's birthday party to do all your decorations and you had two machines, you could still get it done, I think. If you're crazy like me, you could still get it done.
I know. How many late nights of creative crafting have we done?
More than I can count, I think. Haven't we all, though? I can do that. Yeah, I can do that.
I can make all that.
Yep. All right, I'm going to grab my scissors. So what kinds of questions do people have who are new to Cricut and thinking about getting a Cricut? Like, what kind of questions do they have?
We have lots of really, really good questions. Somebody, Reese W. has asked, are we going to see the Easy Press? And yes, that is what Kesley's getting ready to show you.
That is next.
She cut out her fabric. She's doing the iron on, and she's going to show you that Easy Press. So stay tuned. Somebody asked, what if your design is 10 by 10 for a t-shirt? Can the Cricut work for that, or can I use a regular heat press as well? And do you want to take that one, Kez?
You know what? Go ahead. Can you take it? Because I think I didn't get my blade in right there.
Okay. So while she's checking that, if your t-shirt design is a 10 by 10, you can still cut that on any of the Explorer Maker machines. And then you'd want to use the 12 by 10 Easy Press. It's a bigger Easy Press, and it will get right to the edge of that 10-inch design and go over a little bit on the 12-inch part. If you're using everyday iron-on or regular iron-on, anything except infusible ink, you can move your Easy Press to get to the different portions that you're trying to press down. The only image that I would say you need to be super careful to have one press on is infusible ink. Because if you move your heat source around on that particular material, it will get like a shift or a ghosting sort of look to it.
Right.
Do you have to cut again?
I do. I think I didn't have, either I had a fine point blade with no blade in it, or I just didn't have it down long enough. I mean, I just didn't have it in the holder because I was doing it from a funky angle. So I could tell it didn't cut. Like I could feel that it hadn't cut. We'll try.
And that was a question somebody else had about her iron-on didn't cut all the way through. And I don't remember the name of our student who had that question. However, there are a couple of things that you can do if you notice that it's not cutting all the way through. Kesley released the material out of the machine, which means that you can't go back and do it again. But if you avoid pressing that out button, the arrow button, and you just double check, you could actually run the blade twice.
Yes, and also one thing that I really notice is if I haven't selected the right material, this is again where the software is so smart and it tells the machine, she's using this type of material and this is how much pressure you need to put on it. So I do notice if I've selected like a glossy vinyl and I'm using a matte vinyl, there is a different pressure to that. And so you really do want to take note that you're selecting the right type of material in Design Space so that you get your cuts.
And the other, we have a couple people who raised their hands.
Fine.
Now we have to get smart about how to, Lindsay, if you know how to do the raised hand part.
I
Okay. For those of you who just raised your hands, go ahead and type your questions in. I know we have some open questions to answer. We're feverishly trying to get to all of them. But one of the other points that I think would be good, Kesley, is when you're putting your material, your iron-on material in, you do need to make sure that you're putting it the correct way up.
Yes, so it does, you know, I will say, especially since we have so many beginners in the class today, that the whole ecosystem of Cricut, it takes a little bit of just patience, I guess is the right word, because you want to do something, you're like, it should be able to do that. And the great thing is it can do those things that you want it to do. It's just knowing how to do it. And so the first couple of times, I know I'm a not read the instructions kind of person. I sort of just slap something down and I figure I've got it the right way. But you do want to to be patient with yourself, be patient with the machines, make sure you're doing the right thing. So like, for example, in this one, I wanted to check and make sure it was cutting, and I didn't have the same problem I had before. And I just felt with my finger, okay, it was cutting as it was working through. And it was my fault that it didn't cut the first time because I just didn't have my blade down enough. Okay, so that is ready to go. And now I would just trim it out. You can see, let's see if I can do this in front of the machine here. When you weed, you want to just take out the part that you don't want to keep. So for this one, for example, I'm going to just be using the words, hello, beautiful. And so I would remove this out, and I can just, let me see if I close this up, if it'll work a little bit better. My heat press keeps beeping at me, which is great because you notice it does have the automatic turn off button. So it will turn off for you. And I'm doing this quickly so I get it done. I know I'm sort of coming up against our time. The other thing, as if you're a beginner to this, all these different materials and different machines, Michaels and Cricut offer classes every week. We have a beginner class, which is literally right after this class we're teaching. And then we have, next week, we have the second level class, which goes a little bit deeper into design space. And we're really super excited to be introducing some of the project-based classes, which are geared around, specifically around different projects that you can make with your Cricut machine. So I'm teaching those with my crew, my fabulous Cricut crew in the back, who are working so furiously to answer questions and stuff. We're really excited about those classes coming up. So I'm just I pulled out my weeding tool and I'm just weeding this out. I really want to weeding out the inside pieces. And if you ever are doing something like this and you have a hard time seeing it, you can put it up against a window so you can see what you're weeding, or you can check out the new Cricut Bright Pad. I don't know if that's at Michael's yet, but I'm super excited for that to come out. Michael just has everything. I can just walk down the aisle. I don't know about you guys, but I just walk down the aisle and just get inspired with all kinds of fun ideas. Okay, so this again was smart material, and I'm just using my scissors to kind of hack out my design here so that we don't run out all of our time. Did you have a question, Joy?
Gotta get back over to that mute button. We have a lot of people, I think if we can answer this, if I can help answer this question, we have a lot of people who want to know if they can upload their own graphics into Design Space. And you absolutely can. It just needs to be a JPEG file, a PNG file, or an SVG file. And you can upload your own designs. Kesley's pattern that she's used for the bag that she's going to design on was done as her own design. So absolutely, that's a yes to everybody who has been asking that question.
That is a yes. And if I'm not mistaken, we are doing that in the project-based class this month. Okay, so here's my little bag. Now I like to put my iron on the bag before I actually sew it, because if I make a mistake, then I haven't spent all the time sewing a bag to make a mistake on it. You know what I mean? So, so I just find the center of my fabric here. I'm gonna give myself a center of my fabric. So I have that little line there. This was my design. So I'm going to find the middle of that. Okay, so that's between, at the edge of that U is my middle. So I just heat up my fabric a little bit with a light press. And then I bring that back down. And I'm going to put this like right about there. Now my design may be a little bit bigger than my heat press. Oh, no, I think it's going to make it. Just gonna make it. So I put it on there. I've already set my temperature at 350 for 30 seconds. I hit the Cricut C. Now I went online to find my heat settings. So online, hopefully you guys can pop in the link, but there's a link that shows you, that tells you, you put in what material you're using, how you're gonna iron it down and everything. And then you, and it'll tell you exactly how to heat it up. Now, again, if it doesn't do it, if it doesn't stick, and when you take it off, if it's not all the way down like you expect it to be, just remember that some things are a hot peel and some things are a cool peel. So you want to let things cool down sometimes before you peel it off. So like this, I'm going to hit that extra side over here one more little bit. And then we'll be ready to go with that. And sometimes you just want to put a little pressure on it. So you might hold your hand on it to put a little pressure down so that it irons. And you can go, yeah, the other great thing is you can use Design Space and create your own images. So a lot of times I like to have things just so for me on my designs. I noticed that the edge wasn't caught, so I'm just going to catch the edge here. You can just peek. Oh, look at that, so pretty. So you can design your own designs in Design Space. So if you like a design but you want to modify it a little bit, you can use different features in Design Space, like the contour feature will work and things like that. To change your design. Now, sometimes you may just want to take it and hit the back of it real quick to make sure that's there. And I'm going to let this cool off a second. And while that's cooling, I think my mug should be ready to reveal. So I had already pre-cut my sharp material before the class. And so I think we may have just a couple more minutes left if there are any last minute questions while I'm doing my big reveal or any more information I didn't go over that people still needed.
I know you have some big reveals. I just put into the chat, not in the Q&A, but in the chat, the link to the next class that we are offering. It's literally in 5 minutes. If you want to sign up for that class, you can do that using that link. We had several questions. Oh, I love it.
Isn't that great?
Oh, yes, that's awesome.
Who is ready for Shark Week now?
That's Shark Week.
Isn't that the best?
I love it. That's so perfect that you picked just
I have an image on that side and this side.
I love it.
Isn't that great?
Wonderful.
Okay, and then let's see this. Now I just peel off. Let me put this down on the ground here. Now I do have I'm not putting that right on my ground. I have the little base it sits on. Okay. Oh, look at this. Oh, I love this. I even love this on glitter and the holographic materials. It's probably my favorite thing. But there we go.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Yep. And so now I'm ready. I had already cut out my pieces. They're somewhere here. The rest of, oops, oh, here they are. My other pieces. So now I'm ready. After I finish today, I can go ahead and make a bag for my daughter. She can put her gym clothes in here, lunch if she wanted to, anything like that. Really super cute. All right, I think I'm out of time.
I know, Kesley, this has been an amazing class, and we've had so many good questions and so many good questions. Apologies if we didn't get to everything, but we have classes. Cricut and Michael's offer classes online just like this every Monday. Please join us. We're going to have, Kesley has some great classes to offer as we get ready into the summer and the fall and right on into holiday. We're going to have almost every class we teach at the holiday time will be based on projects and different things you can make. So we hope this helped you choose a Cricut machine, a Cricut cutting machine that is right for you. And if you want, hop on over to our next class in 3 minutes and we'll show you how Design Space works.
All right, let's do it. Bye, everybody. Have a great Monday.
Thank you so much.